Get on! The assignment. Well, I'm not really going to tell you about the assignment, but we are going to work on 5 themes. And I would like to tell a little bit about the themes that you're going to work on, because as Rotterdam, and I think Switzerland as well, you know, we have a lot of challenges, and we have defined 5 themes, and I will, well, explain why we think they are relevant, and also explain a little bit how you will work on it. And I know the Dutch have already chosen a theme, so they have been assigned to groups already, but the Swiss have not. So based on this, what you hear here, you can later on choose a button and pick a group that you would like to be assigned to. So, these are the 5 themes, very briefly. Social equity and public space, biodiversity and green space, climate adaptation and water, mobility and accessibility, and last but not least, architecture. First of all, social equity. We live in a very diverse city, Rotterdam. We have a lot of cultures. Within our city, we are a harbour city. It's important that everybody is included and can use the city. So Lotte, with Joella, is going to coach this theme. And it's about places where you can meet. So a third place is basically your home is your first place, work is the second place, and then the third place is a place where you can meet. So it's like community centers, but also public space is where you can meet. Or maybe not. Depends on how you design it. Actually this is, I think, a news clip from last week. 2 homeless people died on the streets of Rotterdam. They were migrants that came here and unfortunately died. So this is like an initiative from the public to the right to rest, the right to remain in public space, if I say it correctly, Lotte. Yeah. And as a designer, you can design spaces that are hostile to people. So if you look at the bench, it has all these, I don't know, things for your arm. You can't lay on it, right? You can sit on it, but it's kind of hostile. And a lot of things in our public space are designed like this. But you could also design it in a different way. Greenery around it, with a nice wooden bench where everybody can just be. So, a public space that's really a meeting place. So that's what this theme is about. Then we have the next theme, biodiversity and greening the city, which will be led by Tanya and by me. Biodiversity, I think I say nothing new, is declining very rapidly, so it's very important to act upon it. And how to incorporate urban green in the city or biodiversity. This is an example, very kind of high-tech, a high-rise in Singapore. I visited a few years ago. Of course, you can incorporate greenery in buildings, but you can also think about very small solutions. Like this is, I was walking through Ghent in Belgium, and the old city, and it used to be like a parking lot, and now they make this very beautiful, like, and it's a little bit deeper so the water can go there, oasis in the middle of town. And it can be initiatives led by the municipality, but it can also be something that, people, just residents in the city think of. This is an initiative. It's called the Green Marathon. So yesterday there was the marathon. I don't know if anybody saw it. Yeah? Well, this is the Green Marathon. So they thought about a route through the city that connects all green spaces. So you could have like a healthy run. around the city. Some very Rotterdamish projects, the rooftop gardening, so it's on the ski block. I think a lot of Dutch students will know it and can lead you towards this place. It's a very special place with a lot of creative companies inside the building, but also tidal parks. I don't know if you've seen the muse already, but it has a lot of very hard caves. But of course you could also, mellow it and make it more like a natural bank, which is way nicer for animals and also way nicer, I think, for us, because, well, you can have a walk through the greenery, and they've already started with those kind of concepts. And it's not just new projects, adding new projects, you can also transform existing cities. So this is an example of Barcelona, where they are transforming like the Serdaglid, the very famous Serdaglid, and they take 9 blocks, and they just leave the route around it, but inside they can add greenery. They take out the car, and it really gives a very nice and more livable neighborhood. But it's not just about greening. This is an example. Rotterdam has lots of really nice plans for biodiversity, increasing biodiversity. They really have assigned certain animals for certain areas, so you can design with it quite precisely. So that's biodiversity and greening the city. Then we have climate change and water. Well, we're in the Netherlands. Climate change and water, very important. We're a delta, and most of the Netherlands is, or well, a huge part of the Netherlands is below sea level. So, and it will be coached by Andreas and Andres. So climate change. Everybody knows. I think the temperature will rise of the entire Earth, and we have the IPCC reports. Do you know them? Yeah, with lots of very detailed information, and they are making analysis of scenarios of how it could develop. And for instance, if our world gets 2 degrees warmer, it will not become hotter at certain areas. So North Pole is getting particularly very hot, but it will also affect the places where it will rain or where it will get drier. So it will also affect where we can grow food. Well, it will affect completely our life. But in the Netherlands, we will have more extremes. It will be wetter, but especially, well, last winter was extremely wet and grey. We will have more of that. In summer, it will be dry, so more extremes. This afternoon we will have a little bit of rain. It's code yellow, so it's not that bad. Could be code orange, could be code red, then we wouldn't go on a tour, but code yellow, well, we still can go on a tour, I think. So this is the Netherlands, and you can see all the areas that are affected by water if we don't do anything to protect us from the water. So we have the rivers that can affect us, and we have the sea. If the sea level is rising, it can also affect us. So we really need constructions to protect us. Here are some nice examples from Rotterdam. A lot of examples. So first of all, you can see the barriers. Above there's a duck park, which is a building with shops, a park on top, but it's also a primary protection for us against the water from the Meuse. But there are also like greenery, because if we add more green to the city, the water can infiltrate in the ground and the sewers won't get overloaded. Because that's a problem. If we have very heavy rain, the sewers can't really get rid of the water and we will have floodings. So a nice example is also the water square where we can store the water for a moment, hold it. So if it's dry, it's a playground. if it rains very heavily, we can hold the water there, it's a pond. And then, if the sewers, well, if most rainwater is gone again, we can release it, but regulate it. So in a slow fashion, and we won't have any problems. So that's about climate change and water. Another thing, mobility and accessibility. We are a harbor city. So mobility, infrastructure is really an important thing for us. It will be coached by Noah and Ilona. And in this, during this, well, the group will work on Black, which is in the city center. And actually it's historically a very interesting area. So there on the picture you can see the train that was above ground, now it's below ground level. And actually, when you go underneath the ground, you can still see a city wall of Rotterdam. Well, Rotterdam was bombed, but still we have some nice, relics from the past. So you can see a little part of the city wall. And nowadays, a lot of things come together at this point, at this mobility hub. So we have the trains, we have trams, as you can see on the pictures, we have pedestrians, we have cars, we have cyclists. It's right in front of the market hall. So there's a lot going on there. And well, it might seem easy to design such a place, but if you think about people with disability, for them it might not be so easy to go about town in a safe way. In the Netherlands we have this kind of a pavement that will guide blind people through the city. But during this theme you might be able to experience what it's like if you can't hear or you can't see, what it's like to go through town and what you need. So that's a mobility theme. Last but not least, we have Andreas from the architecture theme. So if you look at Rotterdam, well, I think it's known for architecture, modern architecture, by Rem Koolhaas, OMA, the Office of Metropolitan Architecture, made some very nice buildings over here. So these are two examples from him from municipality buildings. I think you might pass by the Timmerhuis, which is also a multifunctional building. So it's public spaces, cafe, but also exhibition space. The municipality building, but also mixed with dwellings and green roofs. Then we have another very well-known company, NVRDV from the Market Hall, but they also do some very nice kind of smaller initiatives that are just temporary. So they build like stairs that go up on buildings, which is rather impressive. It's called the Open Dag, the Open Roofs Day. Unfortunately, it's not now, it's in June, I think. And this is also an example. It's a multifunctional building as well. It's shops with the park on top, and actually this is the same building as I showed earlier on. Also a primary protection against the water, against flooding. And last but not least, the ski block again, with this yellow path going through it, which was actually a citizen initiative. So it's not made by the municipality, but it was crowdfunded by residents of Rotterdam. And you can see all that on the architecture tour. So that's about the 5 themes. You can select later on. Tanya made badges, buttons, and you can choose your button. So once the lectures are over, you can pick them up. And choose your group. But right now, first of all, I would like you to ask ask you for a little longer, because now we have our keynote speaker, which is Jan Rothuizen. And Jan Rothuizen is a well-known artist in the Netherlands and beyond. And Tanya and I, actually with some students, we visited the Venice Architectural Biennale last year and we saw his work. So I would like to give a warm welcome to Jan Rothuizen.